are you? Welcome to Project One Voice Live. I'm your host, Eric Miller McCall. You are in store for a really, really delicious treat. We have two extraordinary guests today. Sade Lythcott, who is the CEO of the National Black Theater, is going to be joining us to talk about all things National Black Theater last season and this season. And then we also have Toni Henson, who is producer extraordinaire of the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. I'm really, really excited about these two interviews because they're two extraordinary women who have some really incredible things to talk about today. I'm in DC today. I'm in a hotel room. I'm not in my home, but I'm really, really excited about this show. I'm here because I'm actually taking a tour of some of the museums here in DC, and I'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end of the show. But I also want to remind you all that coming up on September 17th is the second annual Black Theater Day. Black Theater Day is, we did it for the first time last year. It was a celebration of Black theater, a day of service, a day of for Black theaters. It's a day that you can donate your time, your monies, and to support and engage with Black theaters across the entire country. So that's coming up on September 17th, which is going to be just around the corner because Labor Day weekend is coming up. So our first guest is from the National Black Theater. Let me tell you a little bit about our first guest. So, healing our way forward. Now, that was the theme of Dr. Barbara Antier's National Black Theater's 54th season in New York City. Can you believe that? 54 seasons in New York City. Now, last season began with the Pulitzer Prize winning Fat Ham, which takes Shakespeare's Hamlet in unexpected directions. Now, also last season for the National Black Theater was a production based on the legendary life of South African-born activist and singer Miriam Makeba. Now, here to tell us more about the National Black Theater's last season and what's coming up this fall is Sade Lythcott, the National Black Theater's CEO. Sade?
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, Sade, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, always.
Hey, this has been an incredible year for the National Black Theater Festival. You guys won a Pulitzer. Your founder, Dr. Barbara Antier, was sampled on Beyonce's amazing #1 record, and you have a new building coming up.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right?
It is a lot. I should just say, as a quick little buffer, we're the National Black Theater, not the National Black Theater Festival. We often get mixed up with the National Black Theater Festival. They do incredible work. We do incredible work, but we're not the same organization.
Thank you for correcting me because I always make that mistake. So the National Black Theater, and I had that written on the crawl, and I did not even see it.
It's okay. It happens all the time. But we're the National Black Theater. We're founded, located, and based in Harlem, New York City.
Great. So let's talk about last year. So last year's theme was healing our way forward. How did the National Black Theater come up with this theme?
So, the last 2.5 years have been a struggle for both theater in unprecedented ways and for our country and our communities in particular. And so as we had multiple pandemics unfolding, we had a disproportionate effect of COVID-19, not only on theater as an industry, but Black and Brown communities. And, for sometimes, it felt like for the first time in our generation, the country was waking up to this racial reckoning and all of the uprisings, that we knew our role as the National Black Theater, our role as a home away from home for Black artists, was to create a path forward that led with our healing. And so we wanted to dedicate our season and all of our programming to the catalytic force of Black arts through the pursuit of communal restoration, through the communal pursuit of healing and love, ultimately. And so all of the shows and plays and programs and classes were really kind of this elixir or this salve that we wanted to offer our community around how we heal our way forward.
Wow. You know, I luxuriated in that elixir all last season. Let's talk about your two productions from last season. So Fat Ham, may I say the Pulitzer Prize winning Fat Ham. It's a new take on Hamlet. Can you tell us about a little bit about that production?
Yeah, so Fat Ham is this incredible Pulitzer winning play by James Imes, incredible playwright out of Philly, directed by Sahim Ali. It was a co-production between the National Black Theater and the Public Theater, extended 5 times at the Public.
Wow.
And it was a incredible adaptation, if you will, of Hamlet. It's a Black Southern queer take on Hamlet, thus Fat Ham, that's set in the South, in the backyard of a Black family having a cookout. But the thing that was the most inspiring, and I think the part of the show that felt the most special to be producing at this time, was it's a quintessential National Black Theater production, right? It is a playwright that we were able to produce in 2017. And it was a director that we discovered in the MBT family, that came into the MBT family at the same time. So in 2017, MBT did the New York premiere of a play called Kill Move Paradise by James Imes, and we paired him with Sahim Ali. And if anyone came to Harlem to see Kill Move Paradise, it was an incredible production that won, that was a New York Times critic pick. It won, or it was nominated for several Drama Desk Awards. It won the Adelco that year. And so, we decided when we were going to get back in person, when we could produce back live theater, we wanted to get the gang back together. And Sahim is the resident director and associate artistic director at the Public. And so we brought the team of Kill Move Paradise to the Public to produce this new work of James Imes called Fat Ham. And if you went to see it, it was the healing part of it was, allowing audience to gather again and to wrestle with, really like real and tough topics as MBT does, but find our way through to a joyous place that tells the truth of who we are and gives us the opportunity to choose, joy over harm, happiness over oppression, so that we can reclaim our stories and reclaim our truths, and therefore, blaze a path forward as community that feels empowered as opposed to stifled and oppressed.
Wow. You know what? You sound so much like your mom in this. I mean, it is what she says over and over when I read excerpts of speeches, of anything that she talked about when she was founding the National Black Theater. You just sound so much like her. I have to say to you, I saw Fat Ham and I laughed if I may say, my ASS off.
Yeah, it's that's the wild thing, right? It's this tragedy. It's based off of Hamlet's kind of a plot, but it's a comedy. It's super funny.
Yeah. And I think that goes along with this idea of healing. I think laughter is a huge part of healing. So I thank you for that. So now, how was it when you found out that Fat Ham had won a Pulitzer?
So, it was so funny. We learned about the Pulitzer in rehearsal. We were in tech, and I was sitting next to the Public Theater's artistic director, Oscar Eustace, and MBT's executive artistic director, Jonathan McCrory, and we turned to each other and we were gobstopped. I mean, this has never happened in the history of MBT. And it also has never happened in the history of the public that your show wins the Pulitzer 3 days before you start previews. So it was a blessing and also just so well deserved. The timing was perfect. So much of the work NBT does, we wrestle with social impact and social justice issues to bring our issues of our community to a larger platform. And so the Pulitzer was well won by James, but also, brought a spotlight on these really hard issues. We're in a country right now where there's legislation being passed across the country. Don't say gay, in lots of ways we feel like we're going backwards in time. And here is, a comedy that is talking about all of these things in brash and funny and real ways, and giving an antidote to some of, like, what we're seeing on the news. Like, we can say these things, we can reclaim our narratives in ways that actually set a seat at the table for everybody in this very unique Black way. So it was great. It was great.
Yeah. I'm just so happy for you guys. I'm so thrilled that happened, and during this time,
Yeah.
it's such a great win.
Thank you.
So your second production was Dreaming Zenzele, about the life and times of Miriam Makeba, someone who I absolutely adore. Can you tell us a little bit about that production?
Sure. So I think the thing to understand, as I said, like, we're a Black theater found by a Black woman, in the heart of Harlem. And as you alluded to, Eric, we're building a new building. And so for the next few years until about 2025, we're itinerant, which means we're doing these co-productions all
Mhm.
over the city and the country. And so Dreaming Zenzile, written and performed by Somi Kakama, an incredible, if you know her work, Grammy nominated jazz artist from the continent, wrote this beautiful love story about one of her idols and icons, Miriam Makeba. Um, we, because we're itinerant, we did it as a co-production at New York Theater Workshop. But the special thing about this show, this was one of those shows that was definitely interrupted by COVID. NBT with Octopus Theatrics had been developing the show for some years. We were supposed to be in tech at St. Louis Rep when the pandemic closed all of our theaters nationwide. The show, directed by the great Liliana Blaine Cruz,
Uh-huh.
really was paused by COVID, but also that pause gave us so much more energy to know exactly what we were going to come back with. And so in the fall of last year, we world premiered it at St. Louis Rep, and then National Black Theater, as the nonprofit theater of record, toured it, helped to support it through all of its stops until we co-produced it in New York. So it went from St. Louis Rep to the McCarter in Princeton, New Jersey, to Arts Emerson, and then ultimately we came to New York. And this was just incredible music that humanized this icon, this activist icon that we know as Miriam Makeba. Somi wrote the most gorgeous show about the life from Miriam Makeba, from the time she was born to her literal last breath. And it really reveals so much of the buried stories and the hidden figures in our culture by telling her stories, and the intersectionality with civil rights, the
Mm-hmm.
intersectionality with the fight for liberation in South Africa. And so I think in some ways it was this, like, love song, love poem, but it also was a history lesson, and it felt really timely to bring this African woman's story back to America onto the stages so that we can be inspired to keep on with our own activism, as well as have a history lesson to know what has come before us to help us blaze a path, into the future in a much more dynamic, informed way.
Yeah, yeah. And you're so right about how COVID affected this production. I think twice I was trying to see it, and there was someone in the cast had COVID, so it was canceled. So I finally got a chance to see it. It was absolutely incredible. Miriam Makeba is one of my heroes. I love not only her singing voice. I love the fact that she was a staunch advocate for the liberation of South Africa. She was just a really, really extraordinary woman. And I think making that parallel between what was going on there and what was going on here in the States during the 60s is spot on. And it felt so much like like an American story, even though it was a story that was happening across the Atlantic. So that was fantastic. That's last season. There's one more point that I wanted to bring out. Now Beyonce has this new 16-track album, which for some people who may be sleeping under a rock, they don't know this. So I'm listening to it every single day on Spotify. But it has some incredible collaborations, including with Jay-Z, Drake, Nile Rodgers. And there's some great samples on this as well, and some interpolations. You've got the famous Robin-esque club tune, Show Me Love, Pharrell, and Chad Hugo's Milkshake. But I think the most exciting sample is a sample of your mom, Dr. Barbara Ann Teer's speech, a sample from her speech that she did in 1973 on Alien Superstar. So tell me, how great was that to find out that Beyonce, the bee, the bae,
Queen bee.
Queen bee, the beehive, is listening to the words of your mom and being inspired all over again?
Oh, I mean, it's a watershed moment. It's so funny. I can't walk down the street or go on to social media without hearing Alien Superstar. I think yesterday, Kim Kardashian did a reel using the song. Um, I have to say, it is it is the convergence of so much. One of the things that I feel like really I need to be vocal about is this was the best kept secret I ever had to keep. Um, the interview my mother did in 1973 was with Charlie Russell. It is a long form interview that's 20 minutes where my mom is really just having a conversation about Black theater, about liberation, about ritual, about learning to love yourself as the greatest advice she could give any artist. And, and is been kind of the archive has been given to the Smithsonian, Folkways Smithsonian's record label, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so the Smithsonian got in touch with us and said, we have a time-sensitive request. And we heard what the request was. The folks at Parkwood really handled it with such care. They flew to DC to let the folks from the Smithsonian hear it. They got us to come down to the office and they played it for us almost a month before it was released, to make sure we felt comfortable. And it brought tears to my eyes and the irony, and I've never told this story, the irony is when my mom passed away in 2008, one of her sorors and closest friends was Maya Angelou, and Maya Angelou wrote this eulogy to my mom that she could not deliver because she was not feeling well, but Avery Brooks delivered it. And as he read, Auntie Maya, but Dr. Angelou's words, it starts off, Barbara Ann Teer is unique, one of one, right? So this full circle moment where Queen Bee is not only referencing Dr. Angelou, but putting the sample of my mother in the context of a song that really speaks to the spirit of who she is, which is one of one, which was unique. And, my crusade as the leader of the National Black Theater, yes, is, to propel Black theater forward and to be a part of this community. But it was also, my mother had been treated as such a hidden figure her whole life. And her contributions to Black theater are innumerable and have been overlooked, appropriated. And so to have Queen Bee in this moment in time raise her up and to share with the globe and, the aliens, all
Yeah.
of us, superstars, these words, has been incredible. And then just the response from community has been really great. And I just have to say the ancestors are working overtime, and so
I
it's
agree.
been so great.
I agree. I agree. I find it so interesting. I'm working on this project about a specific decade from 1963 to 1973, and 73 is considered to be the birth of hip hop.
Mm,
So I find it so extraordinary that your mom did this speech in 73,
hmm
all a part of that movement and that direct connection to Beyonce and hip hop. It's really, really kind of uncanny,
mm,
and really kind of special. And I listened to that speech this morning, and what I loved about the speech is she chronicles her entire life
yeah.
coming from East St. Louis and her whole methodology for founding the National Black Theater in New York City. Can you give the audience, for those who don't know more about your mom and the founding of the National Black Theater, can you give us a little bit more background about her and how the National Black Theater came to be?
Sure. Oh my God, that's its whole interview. So I'll try to do the abridged version. And just to say to your viewers and listeners, you can go to YouTube, put in Dr. Barbara Ann Teer, and you'll find the Folkways Smithsonian speech about Black theater by Dr. Barbara Ann Teer. It's 20 minutes. And it's the best 20 minutes. So my mom, little Black girl from East St. Louis, Illinois,
Mhm.
um, came to theater accidentally and in some ways spiritually intentionally, raised by two educators, had an older sister, that Frederica Eltier, who was an activist. And my mom really found herself in the world of the arts as a dancer, and she loved to dance, and it speaks about that in this speech. Um, but she had like a catastrophic accident that um, really damaged her knee in a way that she was told she could never dance again. And so she pivoted and started taking acting lessons, and she was really incredible at it. And so she and Robert Hooks started an acting school in Robert Hooks's loft, and and what she was finding was there were all these young Black folks who were talented beyond anything that we saw on our Broadway and commercial stages, and that they deserved a platform. She also saw the catalytic impact of storytelling. And so, as this country was alchemizing around civil rights, and Dr. King, in his assassination in 1968 said, build Black institutions, she really saw all of this as a call to action. So in 1968, on the heels of the Actors Theater Workshop turning into the NEC, she knew she wanted to do something past representation that really harnessed the revolution. And so she moved up to Harlem. She dragged the family up to Harlem. And in 1968, she founded the National Black Theater on the corner of 125th and 5th Avenue. Through the generosity of the last poets, they shared their space with the National Black Theater. In that same building, Studio Museum was formulating. And she sought to do this incredible experiment, which was, what if actors, what if these performers weren't seeing themselves as actors? What if they were seeing themselves as liberators? Because what she found is that the Western approach to theater making and acting in particular, triggered all of our PTSD, which she called post traumatic slave syndrome, right? You go
Mm,
into these auditions, the role that you're going for is inhumane because it's a trope. It's a mammy, it's a prostitute, it's two
yes.
dimensional, and it's written by folks that don't know what we do the way we know what we do, which
Mhm.
he references in the speech. On the Beyonce track. And so she really wanted to have a conversation with Black culture and Black communities in a liberatory way to empower Black artists and actors to see themselves as their first and foremost liberatory um, act, so that there was nothing outside of us that we needed to seek for our own freedom, that we could gift it to ourselves. And as artists, we could in turn gift that to our audiences. So the founding principle of National Black Theater is that we as artists are liberators, having a conversation with audience members that will hope to um, enlighten and trigger the activists in each of us to go back into our communities and do the work that we were called to do by the Most High. And so she saw this practice of art making as not self-conscious like most artists who are actors who are worried about if they'll get the role or not, but she said it's God conscious, and this is God conscious art. So that's the founding of National Black Theater. 1968 in Harlem. In 1983 she had the opportunity to buy the full city block, that the building that we were renting space from. She bought it in 83 because she said it was the most famous address in the world. Go anywhere
Wow.
in the world, say Fifth Avenue, they know New York City, opulence, breakfast at Tiffany's, say 125th Street. Everybody knows the cultural capital of the
Yeah.
Black world is Harlem. So she wanted to buy, and she did buy the intersection of the two. And she wanted to build a temple of liberation for her people. And so that's the work that we're doing even today, half a century later, over half of a century later.
Wow. You're one of only 7 Black theaters in the entire country that own their own buildings. Um, that's extraordinary. And let's talk about let's talk about first what is coming up next season for the National Black Theater.
So we have a very robust season that we just released a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna look down at my cheat sheet so I get it all right. But we one of the things that we doubled down in through the pandemic was, how do we get more resources to artists, right? Artists were a class of folks that kind of fell through the cracks. So much of what artists are able to do, are sometimes it's gig work, sometimes it's, you have to really find ways to afford your passion. And so we thought this is the place where we want to invest. So we expanded our residency program. And so we're really excited to graduate a bunch of our residents in this season. So we start off with Tylee. Hold on, I want to get everything right. So I'm a read, okay?
Please go right ahead.
Tylee Scheider's Gospel Woman. We're doing a workshop production of Tylee's piece at Chelsea Factory. Then we have the world premiere of a beautiful show called Amani. It's a co-production with Rattlestick Theater, written by A.K. Payne and directed by our director in residency. So this will be their graduation, Josiah
Oh, wow.
Davis. Then another incredible world premiere co-production called Pray, um, a choreo poem ritual by Nikki Douglas that we will be co-producing with Ars Nova. And then we will culminate our season with Bernarda's Daughter, written by Diane Xavier and directed by our former director in residence, Dominique Ryder. That's a co-production with the new group at Signature Theater.
Oh, wow. What a great season. Yeah,
Thank
look, I didn't think you could top last year, but I think you might have. And like before we leave, how soon will the new building be intact?
Yeah, so it's construction, so who knows? But no, I mean we're slated to be back in Harlem. We still produce in Harlem with partners like the Schomburg and the
Mhm.
Apollo and Uptown Grand Central. But back in our space, this new Temple of Liberation, a contemporary space as a home away from home for Black artists. We'll be back in 2025. And I just want to say, the thing about National Black Theater, when you hear like the kinds of shows we're producing and the kind of spaces, our take really in Black theater is like the present pulse contemporary voice. You know, we couldn't be here if we were not standing on the shoulders of our ancestors and the incredible playwrights that have come before us, many of which have come through our doors and have been supported and developed by us, and still see MBT as a home away from home. But there are so many voices. There's so many points of views and directors that are going to be, our August Wilsons or Dominique Morisseaus and Lynn Nottages of the future. And so MBT really is a laboratory and a hub for the future, trailblazers of our culture, like James Iams and like the playwrights and directors that will be showcasing this next season. So I hope folks, even if the names are unfamiliar or the work is unfamiliar, that you give it a shot, because what I know to be true in the way that Dr. Tier was a visionary, that these voices will be the voices that shape the world we get to live in and hand over to our children. So, take a risk. We've got a great track record, and come
Yeah.
and see some of the shows of National Black Theater this season. We're the oldest continually run theater, Black theater in New York City, and we're fueled by your support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're about to start your 55th season, and the legacy of Dr. Tier is strong. The baton has been passed to both you and Jonathan. You both are doing some really extraordinary work, and I cannot wait to be a part of it. So, Sade, let me ask you one question. We didn't ask you how is life for you, being a mom and being in charge of this incredible Black theater.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said the word John. You said Jonathan's name as well. So I co-lead this beautiful home away from home for Black artists with Jonathan McCrory, the executive artistic director. The last 2 years has been, I've never worked harder between being a mom and one of the things that NBT really leaned into, and I can speak for me personally, was that the advocacy for our sector coming back has felt like my life's work and a full-time job. So, in the last 2 years, I chaired the Coalition of Theaters of Color here in New York City, led the governor's task force to reopen live performance throughout New York State, co-led, Mayor Adams, New York City's second Black mayor's transition committee on parks, arts, and culture. We moved out of a building, demolished a building, designed a building, constructed a building in the last 2 years. And then, of course, this robust programmatic output, both digitally and in person. So it's been a busy 2.5 years, but, Jonathan and I both feel like this is our service work, this is our love work, and our communities deserve to be having conversations about love, about joy, and about healing as actual, tools to our activism and resistance, because we get to design the world that we want our children to live in. And so we take it seriously. And that's what the last 2.5 years have been. And we're excited about the future.
Yeah, I'm excited about the future too, hearing all of that. And I love the fact that you're doing all of this and you're also paving the way for the next generation of theater makers, of Black creatives, you know. So again, thank you, Sade, for taking some time and chatting with me. Um,
Always.
please say hello to Jonathan for me.
Sure
And
will.
thank you again, Sade.
All
Have a great one. We'll talk soon.
right. Take good care. Thank you, Erin.
You too. All right. That was Sade Lythcott, CEO of the National Black Theater. She shares her duties with Jonathan McCrory, who is the Executive Artistic Director of the National Black Theater. Coming up next on our program is Toni Henson. Toni, if you could bring Toni Henson in, we're going to talk all things the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. How are you, Toni?
I'm great. I was unmute myself. So, how are
Hold
you?
up.
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna I'm picking up my phone because Monica and Ndounou just called me, and I'm gonna ask you a question. And as you're doing that, I'm gonna text Monica. So I'm multitasking right now.
That's what we do.
Tell us about the Atlanta Black Theater Festival.
Well, we're in our 11th season, and I cannot start without paying homage to the first segment. And Barbara Ann Tears, National Black Theater, Sade Lythcott, and the work that they're doing because we stand on their shoulders. So, first of all, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge their work because without her, that brown sister back in the 70s paving the way, there's no way that the Atlanta Black Theater Festival would even be conceptualized. Our ability to be conceptualized is because we can look to the people who came before us to say, yeah, we can do this. I think we can do this. We can, with the, like the train. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, you
Yes,
can.
we can. And we can because of those folks. And so I don't want to just we're in their shadow, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. But the Atlanta Black Theater Festival is in its 11th year. Can you believe
Yay,
that, Eric?
11 years,
I'm
yes.
like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. The time has gone so fast,
You
but
know,
we have. Mhm.
Tony, we started at the same time. Project One Voice and the Atlanta Black Theater Festival began at the exact same time. So we're siblings. We're twins. We're fraternal twins.
Yeah, I would agree, and I can't believe we've been friends since that started. When I remember when I was sitting in the office of Michael Dinwiddie, Black Theater Network's Michael
Mhm.
Dinwiddie, an NYU professor, and he pulled you up on the phone while I was sitting there, telling
Yes,
him of this concept that I was trying to bring to fruition, and he called you, and that's when our friendship began, and we've connected. You've stayed connected. I'll have to say you're really good at connecting everybody together at for since then. So it's been 11 years.
11 years. So tell us
I
more
gotta
about
breathe.
the festival. Tell us more about the festival.
Well, it's in 11th year. We've got a new model this year. It used to be 40 plays in 4 days, and then after COVID, everybody had to pivot. We did an online version in 2020. 2021, we did a modified version, but what we discovered was we were going to expand on that modified version because it was more palatable for folks and didn't seem so overwhelming. So we kick off with a really cool VIP party on the patio of a restaurant in the at the Kempton Overland Hotel this year, and that's next Thursday, September the 1st, and then on Friday in that same hotel, we do a conference all day from 10 a.m. to midnight. We open it up with plays, stage readings. We have panel discussions. We have four studios, and we have three studios and a theater that all this is taking place. So the schedule is easy to follow. You don't have to run around the world. You can just kind of go where you want to go, meet, network, mingle, hang out in the lobby, grab a bite to eat, coffee, fruit, whatever it is that you want to do, and just network with good old fashioned theater lovers. It's like a family reunion. And then we
We love it.
finish that day. We actually have a film festival, a little mini film festival incorporated in that. And that'll be in the theater later on in that afternoon. But go to the website to check the schedule. But it's all under one roof. And then that evening, we cap that full day off with a rooftop. They have an Atlanta. We do it.
Yeah.
We do stuff down here.
We, we
And
do.
we've got a white party on the rooftop. So if you're looking for something to do Labor Day weekend, we are it. We are it. This is it. And then Saturday. Did you have something to say?
Oh no,
Oh, okay.
I'm
Is it-
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I am too. And then Saturday, all day long, we go to the Southwest Art Center. And the Southwest Art Center, for those who don't know, it is where it's Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater home. So
Mhm.
we're there this year. We try to travel around Atlanta a little bit over the course of our 11-year history. So we are going to be on the lawn. First time ever, we're going to have a Black
Mhm.
Art Expo and a marketplace where we have vendors. We have some food trucks, some pop-up theater, and inside the building, we'll run our 5 performances. And if that's not enough, the lineup of the performances is incredible. We also outside we have a tasting wine and food tasting tent. So that's something new that we're bringing to the table this year or to the schedule this year. I'm so excited. But do you want to hear about the performances or I don't know, guide me because I'm excited.
I don't know. Yeah, look, I'm gonna be down there. I get there on Friday. I wish I had known I would have been there on Thursday, but I have to work. But I'm going to be down there. We're going to share a lot of this with our viewing audience, so they get a sample of what it means to be a part of this exciting Black Theater Festival, and just to sample a little bit. So if they can't get down this year, they're definitely going to come down next year. So yeah. So tell everyone how they can get tickets or where the website is.
Well, the website is right near my name. So Tony at atlantabtf.org. Just go ahead and go to atlantabtf.org or just Google Atlanta Black Theater Festival and it'll surely come up. And the schedule is there. It's a robust schedule, but it's simplified this year so you can really maximize on your marathon immersive experience. So yeah, and then wait a minute, I didn't even tell you Sunday, but when I'll
Mhm.
talk about the lineup, but then Sunday we close it out. We there is a neighborhood barbecue place called Lake and Oak. It's very well known in Atlanta, and we're shutting it down. We're taking it over, and they're cooking exclusively for us. So we got to have a cookout. Here comes Labor Day weekend. We gotta have a cookout. So that's Sunday from 12 to 3. We've got live music. So it's just gonna be fun.
Oh, it's things are looking good. That's what that is. Yes, I can't
Yes.
wait. Well, and in the background, you'll be playing Beyonce's Renaissance. You'll be playing Alien Superstar, um, Dr. Tier.
Yes, yes. That I'll signal the DJ to make sure that he puts that on the playlist for
It's on a
sure.
revolving loop, so we'll always be talking about the National Black Theater and Dr. Tier. So
Yes.
oh, Tony, so we got the website. I'm going to be there. We're going to be sharing this with our viewing audience, and I just want to say thank you, and also I want to say to you, I am so proud of you. The things that you've accomplished in these 11 years are just astonishing. I mean, last year you went to, and I think I'm correct. You were in Africa last year. You took a group to Africa. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're taking another contingent of artists to Africa again this year. And then this is going to be an annual thing. It went so well. People were healed. people do better art when they can connect to their roots, and that's just what I've discovered as an artist. And then taking people there, we had a wedding. We got one of the ladies we took, bagged her a Boaz.
Oh,
And we
oh,
it it was life changing. On the trip was life changing on so many levels, and that included a wedding. And she just got married a couple weeks ago, so
wow.
we're excited.
Wow.
It's too much. But this year too is so much to talk about. This year too, we're going to again back to Ghana, and then next year in 2023, we're going to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to go to Egypt.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so make sure you pack your bags and you're on that one,
I
please.
know.
Yeah.
Tell me for we got to run, but give the information one more time about how they can come to the Atlanta Black Theater Festival.
Sure. Just go to the website. All the links are there for tickets, etc. It's atlantabtf.org. And if I could take 30 seconds, I just want to highlight what the full performances are this year, if you
Sure.
don't mind.
Go
All
ahead,
right. So we've got a one-woman show called Journey. It had 35 performances around the country. The next show is Daughter of a King, which is a wonderful musical. All the little brown girls all over the world need to come and be seated in this audience. I'm telling you, if I could reach out to everyone, I would. The next show is a tribute. It's called An Afternoon with Nina and Nancy, a tribute to Nina Simone, with the starring the incomparable Atlanta star Paris Sarter, and also Nancy Wilson starring Dawn, Charlotte's own Dawn Anthony. And then after that, our signature show is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. If you didn't catch it at the National, you can catch it here in Atlanta. And just for the record, we booked him first, and then the National found out, and they booked they booked it too. It's because it's a great show. And then
Wow.
at night we close it off with what our version is called Chocolate Box. It's our version of America's Got Talent, and it is an array of dance, music, song, comedy, poetry, spoken word. It just closes out the whole evening. So
Okay, I'm calling Delta and I'm changing my flight. I'm going to stay until Sunday. I've got to see all of this. So, Toni,
at least.
you know how I feel about you. So, thank you so much
I
for
love you too, Eric.
yeah. I can't wait to be down there next week and spend my Labor Day weekend eating.
Well, you know how we do in the South.
I know,
If
that's my
you
second
ain't
home.
looking if it ain't cooking.
There you go. There you go. Toni, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Eric.
You have a
Hope to
great
see you in
week.
Atlanta.
We'll see you next week. All right. Thank you, Toni Henson. That's Toni Henson. And our last guest today is Dr. Monica Ndounou, who's going to tell us all about the second annual National Black Theater Day, which is going to be happening on September 17th. So is Monica available? Monica. Hey, Monica.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Now, Monica is joining us after she went to Pilates.
Yeah, training for my next.
Yeah, thank you. Did you hear Tony's going to Ghana this year?
Yes, I did, and going to Egypt next year. First, thank you so much for having me, Eric. It is truly an honor to be here and to be in the company of your other guests, Toni from the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and also the National Black Theater. And just want to say how much I'm just so excited for Black people, Black culture, Black theater, and to see all the wonderful things folks are doing. So excited to amplify that.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, there's so much going on. It's very diverse. It's multi-generational. It's so much multifaceted. It's just so much. And I can't wait to talk about how we're going to celebrate it on September 17th with Black Theater Day. It's a day of service to the Black theaters, a day to volunteer. Think of it like MLK Day, but for Black theaters.
Yeah, and in many ways that is how we would describe it. And I want to acknowledge that Black Theater Day is global. So we invite folks from all over the world to participate in it, even though the inspiration comes from September 17th is actually the anniversary of the opening night for the African Grove Theater, the first known professional Black theater company in the United States. So we first launched the holiday through the International Black Theater Summit last year, the inaugural Black Theater Day, as the commemoration of the 200th anniversary of the African Grove Theater's opening night.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us, how can people get involved with this global celebration of Black theater on September 17th?
So, first and foremost, mark your calendars. September 17th. Every year we're going to be doing this. So
Mhm.
we have some things planned for this year that folks can still get involved with. But if you're not able to get involved this year, it is okay. You stay in touch with us. You follow us. You can subscribe at thecraftinstitute.org. So you're on our email list. You can follow us on social media and you'll receive information. There's already one way that you can get some more information about how to participate in Black Theater Day this year is if you go to our Facebook page, there is a link to a document. You can just let us know who you are and how you identify as an organization, and we will give you instructions on what you can do to participate in this global social media campaign. We also want to know if you have different activities that you're doing on September 17th already. There's some shows that are up and running, and they will have September 17th this year is a Saturday. So people have, whether they're having barbecues, still lingering from Labor Day weekend,
Yeah,
or if they are having, shows, community events, different things celebrating Black life, Black culture, Black people, Black stories. Whatever you're doing on that day, let us know about it. But especially if you are connected to a Black theater in your community, then let us know who they are. We're inviting people to donate $5 or 5 hours or more, and
yeah,
you can do that with any Black theater of your choice. We can even help direct you to different Black theaters in our network that we know of, and you can send them the $5 and or the desire to donate time and other resources. And in addition to that, we're asking you to invite 5 friends and family to also support Black theater.
oh,
So
that's
yeah, let's make this a tradition. Yeah,
$5, 5 people, 5 hours.
right.
Yeah, we can all do that high five. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So that's really what we're encouraging folks to do this year. But if you can fill out the form, and it's very short, you just let us know what you're up to, how you want to participate. We will send you a custom graphic that you can post on September 17th. So you fill out the form by September 3rd. We send you the custom graphic. All you have to do is post it on September
Mhm.
17th, along with we can also send you a script of what you can caption your post with, and or you can make a video,
Yeah.
and we'll post that as well. And just
Yeah.
throughout the day as you're following, we have different hashtags that we'll also share with folks so that we can track each other on social media, but bump one another's posts. We have, again, you already showed that the National Black Theater is doing some great things. We have some you have the Atlanta Black Theater Festival doing great things. You have Black theaters around the country and different organizations and events that are designed really to uplift Black theaters. So let's identify who they are. Let's send them a little bit of something. We call it a love offering, if you will, just to
Yeah.
let people know we see you, or let our Black theater or institutions know we see you. We are grateful for you, and we want to continue to celebrate Black theater into the next centuries, into the next millennia.
Yeah, I know we do. And so they can go to the Craft Institute Facebook page for this form stack, for this form they can fill out, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll also be posted on Instagram and Twitter over the next couple days. But if you want to get started now, if you're like me, you want to get your ducks in a row now, Go ahead and go
Yeah.
to Facebook right now. You can find the form there, fill it out, and we'll be in touch with you immediately to let you know how to be a part of Black Theater Day.
I am going to do that as soon as I get off of here. Did you get the post I sent you last night from
I did, and thank you so much.
you know
And
me,
that's,
I'm working.
yeah, Eric, just always so grateful for you and Project One Voice, because you are out here in these streets, you know, being in touch with all the different programming that's happening and all of the different creatives that are connected to those events. And so you can even do what Eric does, which Eric will go to an event and maybe he's just going to support, to watch and participate. And then he will just ask people to say, Happy Black Theater Day. That's all you really have to do if you want to support. It's really that simple. But
That's
we
really
also wanted to just give people the opportunity to know that if you have the resources and you want to give a theater, it's no amount that's too small.
yeah.
There's no amount of time that's too small. Our institutions are significantly underfunded and undersourced, but somehow you have the Douglas Theater from Macon, Georgia, for example, which is celebrating its 100th birthday. You have
Mhm.
the Ensemble Theater from Houston and Black Ensemble Theater in Chicago. Both, I believe, turned 45 or 46 this year. You have
Mhm.
the new Federal Theater, which also I think is celebrating 50 years. The Billie Holiday Theater. We have all of these long-lasting theaters that have managed to survive despite the inequities of being underfunded. And then you also have some younger institutions that have emerged and are still also doing their best to thrive in an environment that wasn't really designed for us to thrive. Yet
Yeah.
somehow we persisted by
Mhm.
supporting each other. So
Yeah.
that's really what Black Theater Day is all about. It's really to uplift us, to support the work that these Black theaters are doing, to amplify that work, and to just celebrate the fact that we are still here and we are doing it.
We are. And I'm going to add the National Black Theater to that. They're celebrating their 55th season,
Yeah,
and that Dr. Tier is singing with Beyonce. I love that. That is like manna from heaven for me, to know that Dr. Tier's legacy is living on, to it's been given to a new generation through Beyonce, whose mom runs a Black theater. Look at all that connectivity right there. You feel
right.
me?
Yeah,
So,
Tina Knowles Lawson and Richard
Richard
Lawson are
Lawson.
the founders of Waco Theater in Los Angeles. I also
Yeah.
want to shout out Sophina Brown and the Support Black Theater group that she's formed in Los Angeles. If I'm often stunned because I teach Black theater. In addition to being a founder and executive director of the Craft Institute, I'm also an associate professor of theater at Dartmouth College, where I also teach film and media and African American studies. I'm astounded each year when I'm teaching Black theater, and I have students from all over the world, and I give them an exercise where they're to look for, to name the Black theater, their local Black theater, or their regional Black theater. And many of them live right in the midst of these theaters. They don't even know they're there. And so we have to do a better job in supporting our institutions and sharing the information about these institutions. And Dr. Barbara Ann Tier is a perfect example of someone who really just embraced the philosophy that really spoke to her, that to uplift the culture. She manifests that in an institution, and she found a way to impact the lives of so many different people, to the point that her work is translated into pop culture through the example of Beyonce. But the
Mhm.
same thing has happened with so many other theaters. The new Federal Theater, who had a connection to Chadwick Boseman, for example, who ended up going on to star in the Black Panther films before he passed away. Um, all of these connections to Black theater, many of the major stars that people are watching in film and television, stars like Denzel Washington, Felicia Rashad, a lot of these folks come out of the Negro Ensemble Company. They cut their teeth on the work of Black playwrights and develop their craft in the spaces of Black theaters. And so we really want to uplift that and acknowledge that. And Black Theater Day is the perfect way to do it. So how you don't have to know any of that to participate. All you got to do is say Happy Black Theater Day, and also commit to just read a post. You might learn a little bit of something that you didn't know before.
Yeah. Monica, thank you for this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for letting us know about this global celebration of Black theater, which is going to happen on September 17th. Also, if you're in New York City, there's a game that's going to be played on September 17th. I think it's a game being played for Black Theater Day. They think it's a game between Morehouse and Howard University, but I think it's for Black Theater Day. That's what I'm gonna claim that. So anyway,
But
if
you
you're
know, and can I just say, in some
yeah,
ways you're right, because both Howard University and Morehouse College, through their relationship with Spelman College and Clark Atlanta University, also have very powerful legacies in terms of Black theater programs that where they're teaching folks, and a lot of the alums that have come out of those programs as well. Shout out to Samuel L. Jackson and Latanya Richardson Jackson, who
mhm.
also are great supporters of Black theater.
Yeah, they will be starring. He'll be starring in the piano lesson. She'll be directing it. That's Spelman and Morehouse,
Yeah,
a duo, Spelman Morehouse pair. They met in college, and look at how that legacy continues. So, Monica,
absolutely.
thank you again for this. We next time you come on, we're going to talk about Echoes of Us, but we got to wrap this up. So, thank you again, Monica. All right, have
Thank
a great.
you. Thank you so much. And to all my Spelman sisters and Morehouse brothers, if you are hanging out in Atlanta during the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, I attended last year. I had a blast. Definitely support. Definitely support. You'll love it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna we're gonna be there on September 17th for the global Black Theater celebration.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Monica. I'll see you later. So that's it for Project One Voice Live. I'm here in DC. I'm about to go to the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I'm actually exploring every single level of that museum for the next couple of days. So that's why I'm in DC. We have a show coming up next week where I'm going to interview Kwame Brathwaite about the Black is Beautiful exhibition now at the New York Historical Society until January 15th of next year. So excited about that. If you don't know about Kwame Brathwaite, you need to find out about him because he's an extraordinary photographer who has really, really sort of chronicled through his photographs this amazing period of liberation for Black people with the Black Power movement, the Black is Beautiful movement, the Black Arts movement. All of that is chronicled in his photographs. So that's it for me. From the District of Columbia, having a great time. And thank you so much for joining us here on Project One Voice Live. See you next time on Project One Voice Live. Have a good one. Bye-bye.